listeners, to our Great Journey podcast series. Today, Sensei Callahan will be sharing with us a little bit about his childhood and his story that he likes to call Confessions of a Whacker. Sensei, anyone who knows you knows that you're a fabulous storyteller. This particular story that you have to share, you say, relates to the true meaning of martial arts. Could you please tell us a little more about that?
Sure. Well, when I was a kid, I used to have this habit of going around to throughout the neighborhood with a stick and whacking the heads of flowers off. And of course, it wasn't too popular in the
I
neighborhood.
assume.
At the ladies of the house, when they saw me coming, they would run out the door and scream at me,
Mhm.
and I would run away. But I would get a few flowers in,
Oh,
and
good, good.
that was what was fun for me.
Hmm.
And because now, as an adult, I'm interested in human nature, I look back on that experience and I'm wondering, why did I do that? Why was I more interested in destroying something beautiful
Hmm.
rather than appreciating it?
Hmm.
And I think that it relates back to the fact that in our household, we weren't allowed to feel things as kids. And what I mean by that, or a good example of that, was when I was maybe about 8 or 10 years old. I remember on one occasion telling my mother that I was cold, and her response to me was, "You can't possibly be cold. You're inside the house,
Okay.
or you can't possibly be cold because you got a sweater." And I really don't remember the
Okay.
circumstances, but in other words, she denied my feelings.
Hmm.
So because she denied it and she was my mother and she was the most important person to me in the world,
Hmm.
it must have been true that feelings were not something I should have.
Right.
And I just really just cut them out. And it took me years of therapy to work through all of
Yep,
that.
I've been there.
And the reason that this relates to the martial arts is because the true purpose of the martial arts is not to fight other people, but or to be in conflict with other people, but to stop conflict, stop fighting.
Hmm.
And I realized that in order to stop conflict, you have to be able to see the other person as a real human being, someone who is not all that much different than you are.
Hmm.
And when you can do that, then you can start to relate to that person. And so much of what we've been seeing lately around the country has
Hmm.
been people vilifying other people.
Absolutely.
And this is not doing any good at
Hmm.
all. So to me, the real meaning of this is to find and get to appreciate it. And I remember on one occasion when this first dawned on me how beautiful things could affect me was sitting in an office and seeing is actually my therapist's office
Hmm.
and seeing the beautiful things that were there, the tables and the chairs and the artwork and the flowers
Yeah.
again, and
Yes.
I wasn't
And you
whacking
weren't
them.
whacking him
No,
this
I
time.
wasn't whacking them. And everything that was beautiful about that room. And I noticed how good I felt sitting in that room.
Yeah.
And it was the feeling. Once I learned how to feel, and then I could learn how to connect with other people. That was a huge advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. So that just shows that we're always in a constant state of growing up.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are. So that sounds like empathy, right? You're wanting
Yep.
to uh, connect to other people and see or envision what they might be going through to help you understand them better.
Yep.
So sometimes kids don't really, or it doesn't come naturally to them to be empathetic. So what are some ways that kids at home could just practice this or put it into practice,
Mhm.
maybe with their siblings or even with their parents, especially during these stressful times?
Well, um, the first thing that they could do is it has to do with awareness,
Mhm.
and the first thing they can do is go somewhere where they can be by themselves,
Mhm.
just for a few minutes. Doesn't have to be long. And this could be either outside or it could be inside. It could be somewhere, but just go wherever you want to go, where you can be alone, and just stand there and feel what you're feeling. What
Mhm.
is the environment that you're in? What does that make you feel? For example, if you're around junk or if you're around trash or if you're around some destruction of some sort, Notice how that makes you feel. Now, it could make you feel bad, but in some cases, it could make you feel good.
Mhm.
But in any case, you want to pay attention to how that feels.
Right.
And then move around to other different places and notice how those things make you feel.
Yeah.
And then get around other people and notice how other people make you feel.
Yeah.
Some people will make you feel good,
Right.
and other people will make you feel a little weird, a
Yes.
little strange.
Yeah.
You
Stay
get,
away from those guys.
yeah. We used to call it the vibes that you
Yes.
might get from somebody.
Right.
So the vibes you might get from somebody are going to tell you something. They're very important,
Right.
and you have to learn to pay attention to them. And
Yeah.
if you're in touch with them,
Mhm.
then you can make good decisions about what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. So that being said, what is your favorite place to be and have these restful, quiet moments where you absorb the beauty around you?
Uh-huh. Well, I would have to say my home. I live in Occidental
Mhm.
in the Redwoods. We live on a hill, and we've got about a dozen or so head redwood trees growing on our
Mhm.
property, and we live in a beautiful home. It's what is the make of the home again? I forget. It's not a Victorian home, but it's yes.
Old.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful, Dutch
Yes.
colonial. That's the
Okay.
word I was
Dutch
looking
colonial.
for. Dutch
Okay.
colonial house. It's just beautiful. And we moved there about 5 years ago. And we've been
Mhm.
spending all of our time fixing it up and getting it to look beautiful and stuff.
Mhm.
And it really is. So it really is just a wonderful, peaceful place to go.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful
Yep.
that you're able to have that now. It took you a
Yeah.
while to get there,
Yeah,
but
it
now you
did.
have it, and now
It
you
did.
get to impart all that wisdom to the kids these days.
It did.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much for your time, Sensei, and we'll see
You're
you
welcome.
guys next time
All right.
on the Great Journey podcast. Have a good day.